everybody, welcome to another episode of Talk the Talk. Today we're driving Michael's 1989 Nissan 300ZX. Now this is the same Michael that we've had on the channel a few times before. We played it rough with his FDRX7, his R34 GTR made us quiver, and now it's time to get a little bit more personal with this Fairlady. This example here is actually the 2+2 setup. So it's got back seats, even though if you're anything over 3 foot tall, they're pretty much useless. And it's also got a bit of a longer wheelbase. Honestly, I do like the longer wheelbase shape a little bit more than the coupe. Here's a bit of a comparison picture here. Decide for yourself which one you like. Either way, they're both very sleek, very sexy cars. Michael got this car back in 2005, and originally it was a naturally aspirated example. Now 300ZXs being 300ZXs, not the most reliable cars. Ended up running low on compression, that engine, and what did he do? Instead of fixing it up, why not upgrade? So he got a twin turbo engine, chucked it into this car here. At that time, with the mods that it was running, that car had 500 rear wheel horsepower. So when he chucked it in here, he had plenty of fun in it. But again, 300ZXs being 300ZXs, what happened? Engine issues. One of the bearings spun. So now Michael had this car for a while, and you'd think that he'd chuck in the towel after going through 2 engines. But this thing's actually very sentimental to him. First sports car that he actually owned, and he absolutely loved the car. So what did he do? Another engine. Twin turbo, but this time here, he got some reinforcement. JE forged pistons, which were +1mm oversized from factory. He got Jun valve springs, and he also got ACL race bearings. Now he didn't want another bearing to be spun on the engine, so very good precaution there. Now before we get to performance mods, let's just show you a little bit of the performance. Second gear, 3,500 RPM. Just take it easy around this corner, creeping up to 4, holding it. Oh, wheel spin and she just kicks out. There's definitely plenty of power here. Now what's making that power? He's got a pair of GT 2560 turbos up front. Now these aren't the largest turbos, but that's how I actually like it. Spools up by about 3,000 RPM and it's all happy from there. Sorry, we're almost killing some ducks here. Spools up around 3,000 RPM as I was saying, and it's just all smiles from there. Now supporting mods, he's got a large intercooler as well up front. He's got a full custom 3-inch exhaust system, and it's all being powered by a Haltech Platinum ECU. Currently running 20 PSI of boost, and he's making 450 rear wheel horsepower, 605 Nms of torque. Let's see exactly what 450 rear wheel horses feels like. Oh, the boost keeps on building. 4th gear synchro, a little bit gone, so that was that crunch there. It wasn't my fault. Holding around the corner here, this thing, it actually feels a lot more nimble than I was expecting. That boost builds up and there is a nice amount of torque there. Now let's get it back to 2nd gear. 4 grand, in between the corners. To 3rd, oh, this thing just builds speed like crazy. Now back to the handling side of things. He's done a few upgrades to this. He hasn't just chucked power in this baby. So he's running teen monoflex coilovers. He's changed all the suspension arms to fully adjustable. and he's also got a strut brace up front and rear. Now, all of this equates to a very, very stable car. Can't really feel much sway through it. He did actually have sway bars or stabilizer bars up front and rear too. They were the white line solid ones. Now, he said that it did handle great, but not really for the street. Jumping around a little bit and a little bit too stiff for street use. Now, you got to remember, on the track, you got a nice flat surface. On these roads here, it's bumpity bump. Ooh. Oh man, second gear is not good for this car. It's running semi-slicks as well, 8008R. But as soon as that boost kicks in and it's just building up that torque curve, it just wants to wiggle its ass around a little bit. Bit of twerking on the twisty roads. A little bit of a stretch here. Let's wind her out a little bit. Oh. Third gear, 6,000 RPM, 7,000. Woo! Oh, this baby's good fun. Now, the gearbox here is crunching, but they're actually pretty strong from factory. It's just the synchros that are the issue here. Now, it is a stock 5-speed box that he's still running in here, but he does have a Nismo twin play clutch, which isn't too bad to get off the line, and it's definitely going to handle the power that he's putting out. He's also got a Lighten flywheel, and that's connected all together to the diff with a custom one-piece tail shaft. Again, he just wants to make sure it's all ready to handle that brute power. Now, the diff that he's running, R32 GTR LSD. Now, being from the R32 GTR, obviously that's an all-wheel drive setup in that car, so he's got custom half-shaft adapters to run in this rear-wheel drive setup. Now, the gearing in it is a 4:1 ratio. Honestly, it does feel a little bit too short for this car. Maybe something like a 3.8 would be good, but that might just be because I'm wanting to avoid going into 4th gear, hearing that crunch every time. Now, with great power comes great responsibility, and you need great stopping power. So what's he running? R33 GTR Brembo calipers, and also 2-piece rotors. Now, we've been going pretty hard through these roads, and I'm not feeling one bit of brake fade. It feels absolutely amazing. There's no cushion to the brake pedal. It's pretty much as soon as you're on it, it's wanting to stop. Feels very, very precise the way that it's braking. Oh, boost into third. Take it a bit easy around this corner. Just holding it. At 4,000 RPM, this car isn't even that loud, but you know what? It does have a great sound to it. It's not obnoxious, but it does have that nice sporty sound to it. And when you rev her out, you hear her scream. And we like hearing them scream. This car and these roads are just way too much fun. Perfect combination. This thing is so nimble around the corners. I was expecting it to be a bit more of a barge, to be honest, but it's just cutting through these like crazy, and you can just go from one corner to the next, and it's keeping nice and stable. You can feel those tires around the corner really just gripping onto the road like glue, like it's a part of the tarmac. It's absolutely astonishing. Now, time for a little bit of an acceleration run. A little bit of a hill, so hopefully not too much wheel spin. Not gonna launch it, just a soft takeoff. Ooh, wheel spin. Second gear getting a little bit better, a little bit more grip there. Winding out third. The power delivery in this thing is so linear. I absolutely love it. Once it's on boost, it's like NA between gears in a straight line. It feels great. Aesthetically to this car, Michael honestly hasn't really done much to it. And I like it that way. These cars out of factory were sexy. You look at them now, yes, they do look quite dated, but they're sexy nonetheless. Old doesn't mean it can't be good looking. He's done little simple things to it like impel rear wing, which I've been told is actually a very rare item. It's not over the top, but gives it that little bit of edge. And he's also got the Nismo LMGT wheels, which I've said before in my other videos, when he was running them on his R34 GTR, they are just such a simple, nice, clean design. And honestly, those wheels are timeless. It just looks fantastic. Interior wise, he's kept it simple and tasteful as well. He's got his Bride racing seats, which really do hug you while you're going around the corners hard. A little bit of a pain in the ass to get in the car, but he's also got this Sparko steering wheel, which flips up and makes for a bit easier access as well. Now this steering wheel sits nice and close to you, so you feel like a race car driver with it close to your chest, going around the corners, and it's very grippy as well. He's also wrapped himself personally a few of these interior pieces in velour, and the velour does look very nice and very classy. Brings it up a few aesthetic points for the interior, because from factory, honestly, it's quite dated, those pieces there, and it doesn't look the best. These velour pieces look like it was from factory, but a little bit of an option that Michael actually did himself DIY.
I've had this car since 2005. It's coming up to 15 years with me now. During that time, it's been a real love and hate relationship. Obviously, these are not known to be the most reliable cars you can get. Lots of things that can fail, has at some stage, and or needed attention. So the ownership experience though has been a real learning experience, and it's been priceless really. I didn't really know much about cars. This has taught me everything I needed to know. What drew me to this car was definitely got the T-tops. So this design trait just isn't really used anymore, and it's a shame really, because it was probably the T-tops that really sold me on the car all those years ago. I was on a student wage, working part-time when I first bought it, and when things did go wrong, I couldn't afford to pay workshops to fix it for me. So slowly, I learned to do everything at home in the garage. There's been a lot of people who did help me along the way, and I'll thank you guys now. Sandeep, first and foremost, Chris, Emma, Alex, Trent, Kat. You guys didn't have to help me, but you did, and I really appreciate that. Also, my parents for storing the car in the garage when it was broken, obviously, quite a few times.
Well everyone, that wraps up another episode of Talk the Talk. I'd like to thank Michael once again. This is the third toy that he's let me play with that he owns, and I'm looking forward to playing with a few more of his as well. Absolute awesome collection he's got there, but we'll keep it on the down low and we'll show you what he's got in the future. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you like this video, please show it and give it a like. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see some more great content with more awesome cars and just standard old me. And please hit that notification bell so you know when more fun's coming your way. Until next time, drive safe, and I'll catch you around.
Mm-hmm.